When a human says challenge accepted, entire galactic star systems activate their shields. Let's start the story. Please like the video and subscribe. Comment if you have a challenge accepted story. Chapter 1. The Galactic Incident. Captain Leo Ward strolled into the Grand Hall of the Interstellar Accord Assembly, a massive galactic summit where diplomats, generals, and representatives from all corners of the galaxy gathered. The room hummed with alien voices, some deep and rumbling, others high-pitched and melodic, all melding into a cacophony of diplomacy. Yet, as soon as Leo entered, wearing a Hawaiian shirt, cargo shorts, and flip-flops, the noise level dropped, and hundreds of eyes and optical sensors turned to him. The human grinned, taking in the awestruck stares, even giving a mock salute to an especially stern alien wearing layers of ornate robes and gleaming jewelry. "I'd say don't be shy, but it looks like you already are," he quipped, his relaxed, casual tone cutting through the tension. Ambassador Raquel of the Eurethans, a formidable species with scaled skin and eyes like polished steel, fixed him with a sharp gaze. Known for his no-nonsense attitude, Raquel had a reputation as one of the galaxy's strictest enforcers of protocol. He wasn't impressed by Leo's unconventional appearance. "Captain Ward?" Raquel's voice was low, a growl that resonated through the hall. "Do you humans ever take anything seriously?" Leo only smiled wider, shrugging. "Depends on the situation. But I thought I'd dress up for the occasion," he replied, gesturing to his outfit. A few murmurs of disbelief echoed through the hall as the other delegates exchanged uneasy glances. Raquel folded his arms. "Perhaps you think yourself clever? Human. But your kind's arrogance will be your undoing." Leo chuckled. "Arrogance? We call it confidence. Besides, when humanity's put to the test, we always come through." Another alien representative, Minister Zira of the Zirites, a tall, graceful being with luminescent skin, leaned forward with narrowed eyes. "I've heard humans boast of this resilience, but it's nothing more than reckless bravado." Leo's grin turned into a smirk. "Oh, really? Care to test that theory?" Raquel's scales rippled in irritation. He was tired of human bravado, tired of hearing tales of their bravery and stubborn persistence. "Fine. Human, I challenge you to navigate the Trellis Vortex and retrieve a cruiser stranded in its depths. It's a feat even the most advanced pilots have failed to accomplish." Leo's eyes gleamed with excitement. "Challenge accepted." The words hung in the air, and a ripple of murmurs spread across the room. Leo noticed a few alien diplomats exchanging nervous glances, their fingers or tendrils twitching as messages were quietly relayed to their respective planets. Within seconds, the diplomatic feeds across nearby star systems were buzzing. "Attention, alert status raised due to human response. Human Captain Leo Ward has accepted a challenge." Leo blinked, glancing around as small holograms flickered on around him, displaying updates from the Accord's Central Command. Defense grids and shields across several star systems were being activated, and fleets were moving into standby mode. "Whoa," Leo muttered, chuckling. "Didn't know I was that popular." Raquel's expression was one of both anger and disbelief. "You humans have no idea what you've just done. The Trellis Vortex has claimed hundreds of lives. Entire battalions have vanished within its depths." Leo raised an eyebrow. And? Raquel repeated, his voice laced with frustration. "And if you fail, it could destabilize relations between our people. But if you succeed," he trailed off, clearly struggling to imagine such an outcome. The Trellis Vortex was one of the galaxy's greatest dangers, a swirling gravitational anomaly that defied every attempt at navigation. No one had successfully flown in and out of it unscathed. Leo shrugged, his nonchalance unnerving the assembled diplomats. "Guess we'll see, won't we?" As he turned to leave, a robotic diplomat from the Tekra Collective spoke up, its voice a chorus of overlapping tones. "Captain Ward, our intelligence systems have recorded that humans display an alarming pattern. When faced with a challenge, Their probability of initiating catastrophic events increases by 83%. Leo chuckled, giving the robot a friendly pat on its metallic shoulder. Guess you'll just have to brace yourselves. He exited the grand hall, leaving behind a stunned assembly and a flurry of activity across the galaxy. Aliens scrambled to update their defensive protocols, and star systems braced for the potential consequences of a human once again accepting a challenge. And as Leo made his way to his ship, the Sapphire Eagle, he couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement. In the cockpit, he glanced out at the vast expanse of stars, whispering to himself, "Challenge accepted." Indeed. Chapter 2. Into the Vortex. The Sapphire Eagle cruised smoothly through the quiet void of space, its gleaming hull reflecting the starlight as Leo prepped for the mission. Though his demeanor remained calm, the cockpit was alive with displays flashing warning symbols and live feed updates from the Accord's control center, which was monitoring his every move. Messages poured in from star systems on high alert, their defense fleet standing by as if expecting a full-scale invasion. Leo leaned back, smirking at the nervous chatter scrolling across the communications screen. "Talk about overkill," he muttered, adjusting his controls as he approached the coordinates of the Trellis Vortex. As the vortex loomed ahead, Leo felt a slight tremor of excitement. The anomaly was a cosmic phenomenon like no other, a swirling mass of energy that distorted time, space, and gravity itself. Pilots who dared enter it described it as a living entity, unpredictable and lethal, and in its depths was the stranded Ilara 4, a large cruiser caught in the gravitational traps of the vortex. It had sent out a distress beacon months ago, and every rescue attempt had ended in failure. Just a quick in and out, Leo told himself, though he knew it would be anything but. As he neared the edge of the vortex, his ship's alarms went off. The vortex seemed to sense him, shifting and pulsating with an almost predatory energy. Leo chuckled, unbothered by the ominous display. "All right, Trellis, let's dance." He gripped the controls, pushing the Sapphire Eagle forward into the swirling mass. Immediately, his ship's stabilizers struggled to keep up, and the force of gravity pulled at him from all directions. Lights flickered, and Leo gritted his teeth, wrestling with the controls as the vortex fought to tear his ship apart. Back at the Accord's command center, diplomats and military officials watched in tense silence, captivated by the footage streaming from Leo's ship. Raquel's scaled face was locked in a scowl as he observed Leo's progress. The ambassador muttered, "Foolhardy human." Meanwhile, Leo's ship was surrounded by shifting gravitational forces that formed walls of energy, forcing him to veer sharply left, then right, in rapid succession. His reflexes were sharp, and he seemed to anticipate each shift, twisting and turning with a skill that left even the hardened alien generals watching in astonishment. Just as Leo began to feel he was getting the hang of it, a gravitational spike surged ahead, pulling him off course. He cursed under his breath, the ship spinning wildly before he managed to stabilize it again. "Okay, not as smooth as I thought," he muttered. Breathing heavily, he glanced at the ship's sensor readouts, which displayed the position of the Ilara 4 deep within the vortex's core. Through the view screen, he saw it, the battered cruiser trapped in a dense web of gravity wells. Leo knew he'd have to get close enough to hook onto it with his tractor beam, but the gravitational forces around it were spiking erratically. He sighed, shaking his head with a smirk. Nothing like a good old-fashioned challenge. He inched the Sapphire Eagle closer, his every move precise, threading through narrow gaps in the gravitational currents. Alarms blared again as a sudden energy spike shot toward his ship. Leo gripped the controls tightly, forcing the ship into a hard bank to the right, narrowly dodging the invisible force that nearly tore through his hull. "Almost there," he whispered, eyes locked onto the cruiser. The tractor beam locked onto the Ilara 4 with a satisfying hum. Leo activated the beam's pull, feeling the strain on his ship as it struggled to tug the massive cruiser from the vortex's grip. Just as he began the extraction, a voice crackled through his comm. echoing across the galactic channels. Captain Ward, your actions have been deemed a severe threat to galactic stability. Stand down or be neutralized. Leo rolled his eyes. You've got to be kidding me. I'm in the middle of a rescue. We do not recognize unauthorized rescues in restricted zones. The voice replied, cold and unyielding. Deactivate your tractor beam immediately. Leo chuckled to himself, ignoring the warning. Let's see you try and stop me. Buddy, as he continued the pull, a fleet of automated defense drones deployed around the vortex, their weaponry locked onto him. The Accord's drones were known for their precision, able to disrupt even the most advanced ships. The entire galaxy was watching, and it was clear they weren't about to let a single human pilot defy them. The drones fired, and Leo jerked the controls, dodging a hail of plasma bolts as he maneuvered both ships through the vortex. His hands moved swiftly over the controls, his instincts guiding him through the chaos. He muttered to himself, "So this is how it's going to be." Huh? He pulled the cruiser through the outer layer of the vortex, dodging the blasts from the drones. But each evasive maneuver cost him precious momentum, and the gravitational pull around him increased with each second. He felt the strain on his ship's engines, and the Sapphire Eagle groaned under the pressure. "Come on, girl," he whispered, coaxing the ship through the turbulence. "Just a bit more." At the Accord's command center, the officials and diplomats watched in shock. Even Raquel, who had doubted Leo from the start, seemed transfixed by the audacity of the human's defiance. Leo was outnumbered, outgunned, and fighting against forces far beyond him. And yet, he was winning. The Sapphire Eagle roared as it pulled free of the vortex, the Alara 4 safely in tow. Leo let out a triumphant yell, his laughter echoing through the comm channels. The automated drones halted, unsure of how to proceed, and the Accord command center was thrown into chaos as every alien diplomat tried to process what they had just witnessed. With the vortex behind him, Leo took a deep breath, grinning as he keyed the comm. "Command, this is Captain Ward. Mission accomplished." Now, what was all that about a galactic threat? Silence hung over the comms before a reluctant voice replied, "Stand by. Captain Ward, we acknowledge your success." Leo chuckled, leaning back in his seat as the Sapphire Eagle coasted smoothly. "Challenge accepted. Galaxy," he murmured, his grin widening. Challenge accepted. Chapter 3. A Galaxy's Acknowledgement. As the Sapphire Eagle cruised out of the Trellis Vortex, towing the battered Alara 4 behind it, a wave of shocked silence fell over the galactic comms. Leo had not only survived the vortex but completed the impossible rescue, all while evading the automated drones meant to stop him. He was alive, defiant, and in high spirits. But the Accord's command center, still reeling from the unexpected success, quickly came back to life. Hushed conversations, urgent directives, and startled faces filled the room. On a private channel, Ambassador Arkell's voice crackled through to Leo's ship. "Captain Ward, against all odds. You did it," he admitted grudgingly, his tone a mixture of astonishment and reluctant respect. "The Trellis Vortex has claimed some of the galaxy's best, but you've managed to escape with both your ship and the cruiser intact." Leo's grin widened as he looked out at the quiet void around him. "Guess that's just the human way, Ambassador. When we're backed into a corner, we do what needs doing." The comm channel buzzed again, and this time it was Minister Zira of the Zirites, who had once accused him of reckless bravado. "Captain Ward," she began, clearly trying to mask her surprise, "your actions have set a new precedent. The Accord, we recognize your capabilities. The resilience of your species is unparalleled." Leo chuckled. "I appreciate the acknowledgement, Minister, but I didn't do it to prove anything. Just saving lives and all that." At that, Raquel interjected. "Captain Ward, perhaps we misjudged humanity. Your actions have shifted our view of what humans are capable of. The Accord would like to formally recognize your achievement and your bravery." Leo couldn't help but laugh, a sound that rippled across the galactic channels, no longer filled with tense warnings, but with quiet admiration. "So, what are you saying, Ambassador? We're friends now." Raquel's scales rippled, a rare gesture of vulnerability for his kind. "Let's just say that humanity will no longer be underestimated." As Leo guided the Alara 4 toward the nearest spaceport, he noticed something on his ship's navigation screen. A massive series of defensive fleets shifting positions, no longer aiming at him but reorganizing to clear his path. Dozens of ships from various species were retreating from the borders of the vortex, leaving a safe corridor for his ship to pass. The gesture was clear, an interstellar salute, an acknowledgement of his success, and, perhaps, a hint of newfound respect from the entire galaxy. Leo's grin softened as he took in the sight. He keyed his comm one last time, his voice calm and humble. "Thank you, Accord. And to everyone watching, just remember, a challenge accepted is a challenge met." With that, he cut the comm, allowing the moment to settle as he prepared for the final leg of his journey. Around him, the once threatening fleet now seemed to stand guard, escorting him and the Alara 4 to safety. As he approached the designated spaceport, he received an official transmission from the Accord, a formal commendation, acknowledging his success and the bravery he'd shown. The message carried the signatures of several diplomats, including Raquel and Zira. In his cockpit, Leo leaned back, staring out at the stars. For the first time in recent galactic history, humanity's reputation wasn't just one of chaos or risk. It was one of bravery, skill, and a relentless spirit that had captivated an entire galaxy. And though he wouldn't admit it to them, Leo felt a swell of pride. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, one challenge accepted at a time.